Daniel learned the habit of waiting long before he understood its cost. He was not born afraid of love. As a young man growing up in Oregon, he had believed feelings were meant to be spoken, chances were meant to be taken, and hearts were meant to risk breaking, but life did not teach him gently. One early relationship ended without warning, leaving him standing alone with words he never got to say. After that, hesitation became his shield. He told himself it was maturity. Over time, it became a way of living. By the time Daniel turned 42, his life looked calm and complete to anyone passing by. He lived outside Seattle in a quiet neighborhood where mornings smelled like wet pavement and coffee. He worked in a stable job, paid his bills on time, and kept his home neat. He had friends, polite conversations, and predictable days. He did not have was someone who truly knew him. The silence in his evenings felt heavier each year, but he learned to live with it. He believed love demanded courage, and courage was something he had used up long ago. Everything changed on a normal afternoon when he was invited to a small gathering at a friend's house. Daniel almost said no, as he often did, but routine pushed him forward. That was where he first saw Emily. She stood near the window, listening. More than speaking, her arms crossed loosely as if protecting something fragile inside her. She had recently moved from Vancouver to Seattle for work. There was calm strength in her posture and quiet emotion in her eyes. Daniel noticed her smile first. It was not loud or practiced. It appeared slowly, like trust being tested. So when they spoke, their conversation flowed easily, without effort. They talked about small things at first: work, the city, favorite places to walk when the mind felt crowded. Emily spoke with care, choosing her words thoughtfully. Daniel felt something stirring him that he had not felt in years. Interest mixed with comfort. They did not rush into anything. Their connection grew through ordinary moments. Coffee after work became a habit. Walks through local streets turned into long talks about life. Emily shared pieces of her past without drama, how she had loved deeply once and been disappointed, how she learned to be strong alone. Daniel listened closely, feeling both drawn to her honesty and afraid of what it awakened inside him. For the first time in years, he imagined a future that was not quiet. Emily noticed his hesitation early. She saw it in the pauses, in the moments where he almost spoke, but stopped. She never pushed him. She respected silence, but did not hide her feelings. Her presence was warm, but not demanding. Daniel felt safe with her, yet fear stayed close. He worried that opening his heart would lead to loss, that hope would ask too much from him. Days turned into weeks. Autumn arrived, painting the city in deep colors. Their conversations grew deeper. They spoke about regrets, missed chances, and the strange way life moves forward even when people feel stuck. Daniel felt an ache every time Emily looked at him with expectation. He knew she wanted clarity. He knew he was running out of time. One evening, they stood outside a cafe as leaves drifted past their feet. The air was cool and heavy with meaning. Emily looked at him. Steadily, her voice calm but firm. "I don't stay where I feel invisible," she said. The words were simple, but they struck deeply. She was not accusing him. She was offering honesty. Daniel felt panic rise in his chest. He wanted to tell her everything, how fear had shaped his life, how much he mattered, how badly he wanted to step forward. But old habits returned. His silence answered for him. Emily nodded once, her expression gentle but resolved. She wished him well and walked away. Daniel stood frozen, watching her disappear down the street. The moment passed, but the feeling stayed. That night, the house felt colder than usual. Sleep did not come. Regret filled every quiet corner of his mind. For the first time, hesitation felt more painful than heartbreak. And as dawn approached, Daniel realized something that frightened him even more than loss. He might have just let go of the one thing he was finally ready to fight for. Days passed slowly for Daniel after Emily walked away. Seattle, usually calm and familiar, now felt empty, like the city itself had noticed the silence that followed him. Every street, every cafe window, every corner of his neighborhood reminded him of her. Even simple things like the smell of rain on pavement or the soft chatter in a coffee shop carried her memory. He kept replaying their last conversation in his mind, analyzing every word, every pause, every glance. Fear had always been his shield, but now he realized it had also been a cage. The realization was painful. He had protected himself from heartbreak, but he had also protected himself from love for years. He had told himself he preferred solitude over uncertainty. That silence was wiser than risk. But the truth was undeniable. He missed her presence. He missed her calm honesty, the way she laughed, the little ways she made him feel alive without even trying. He imagined her walking through her days without him and felt a pang in his chest he could not ignore. Every evening alone, every quiet night, reminded him that hesitation had cost him more than comfort, it had cost him connection. Daniel spent the first few days thinking about what he could have said, what he could have done differently. He walked the familiar streets near his home, hoping, perhaps foolishly, that a chance meeting might give him another opportunity. But life moved on, as it always did. The world did not pause for regret. Still, he carried hope quietly in his heart, the stubborn kind that refuses to die even when reason tells it should. On the fourth day, sat at his kitchen table, staring at his phone. He realized that if he did not act, he would continue to live in regret. He had spent a lifetime avoiding emotional risk, and yet here he was, more afraid of silence than failure. His hands trembled as he typed and deleted a message several times. The words had to be right. They had to convey honesty, vulnerability, and courage. After what felt like an eternity, he finally pressed send. The seconds stretched endlessly. Each passing moment made his heart beat faster. And then a small notification appeared. Emily had replied, "Can we talk?" Her message was short, but it carried everything Daniel had hoped for. Relief, fear, and anticipation collided inside him as he read it again and again. He felt his chest loosen slightly, as if a weight had lifted. For the first time in days, he allowed himself to imagine a conversation that could heal, that could start something new. They agreed to meet at a small park near the water, a place neither of them had ever chosen before, but which felt neutral, quiet, safe. Daniel arrived early, the crisp winter air biting gently at his skin. He walked slowly along the pathways, his eyes scanning for her familiar presence, and then there she was. Emily stood beneath a leafless tree, her posture calm but her expression unreadable. She had that same quiet strength he had first noticed weeks ago. Daniel felt his stomach tighten, but this time he did not step back. He walked toward her, each step a small victory over years of hesitation. When he was close enough, he stopped. Silence hung between them for a moment, heavy but not uncomfortable. Daniel took a deep breath. He knew that words would not come easily, not yet. But he had to begin somewhere. "I've spent my whole life hesitating," he said softly, his voice steady but vulnerable. "I kept myself safe from heartbreak, from risk. I thought I was being wise, but losing you, it made me understand something. Fear isn't protection. Fear is a cage." Emily's eyes did not waver. She did not interrupt. She simply listened, giving him the space to speak, the space to finally be honest. Daniel continued, feeling years of tension release in every word. "I didn't realize what I was missing until it was gone. I didn't realize that the risk I avoided most of all was the risk of loving someone fully. I don't know what comes next. I don't know if you want the same thing I do, but I can't keep choosing silence." For a long moment, Emily said nothing. Then, slowly, she smiled. It was not a wide smile, was not triumphant or exaggerated. It was quiet, real, and warm. "I didn't need perfection," she said. I didn't need grand gestures or speeches. I just needed honesty. And now I have it? Daniel felt a strange calm wash over him. The fear that had dominated his life for so long began to dissolve. He realized that love had never been about certainty or complete safety. Love had been about choosing to be brave, even when the outcome was unknown. And in that moment, standing across from Emily, he understood that he had finally done what he had been afraid of his entire life. He had stepped forward. They did not rush into anything. There were no sudden declarations of forever. There were no promises made in haste. They walked slowly along the water's edge, side by side, speaking softly, laughing quietly, sharing small stories and memories. Each step felt significant. Each glance, each subtle touch of their hands brushing, carried meaning. They were rebuilding trust and connection cautiously, but intentionally. Daniel realized that real courage was not a dramatic act. It was consistent, thoughtful, honest effort. As the afternoon sun dipped behind the clouds, casting a golden glow across the water, Daniel felt something he had not felt in decades: hope. Hope did not make everything easy, and it did not erase past pain. But hope reminded him that life could change if he dared to act. And he had acted. He had risked his heart. He had spoken honestly and fully to someone who mattered. And that step, small as it might seem to the world, was monumental for him. Emily looked at him, her eyes calm, steady, and sincere. Daniel met her gaze without fear, without hesitation. He realized that hesitation had kept him from living fully, and honesty had set him free. They walked together through the park, the quiet city around them, knowing that what mattered most was not the certainty of tomorrow, but the courage to face today together. Daniel understood that fear might return, that life might challenge them. But he also knew that he would not retreat into silence again. He had finally chosen action over hesitation, and in doing so, he had opened the door to a future that felt possible, real, and shared. After a lifetime of hesitation, Daniel had finally done what he had feared most. He had allowed himself to love fully, to speak openly, and to step into uncertainty with courage. And as he walked beside Emily, he understood that this choice, though small in the grand scheme of the world, was the beginning of everything he had been waiting for. For the first time, he felt that life was not a cliff, but a path end. He was ready to walk it, one honest step at a time.